Hello, hello, and welcome. Oh no, what have I done? What have I done? There we go. Welcome back to another week of this show. I was off last week because I was there. Yeah. So anyway, welcome back. Good to see everybody in the chat here. I noticed some comments about the the white noise channel that was active in the background during the music, which is was not intentional, but it was the sound from that video clip that was playing, which was recorded at the ocean. So yes, it was a lot of just waves and white noise. And thankfully, none of the parts where we were out on the balcony talking, otherwise you would have heard some chatter up there as well. It was ocean sounds. Rich is at the beach, so it was a little confused. I love it. Oh no, what have I done? My favorite way to start a live stream. Yeah. Well, okay. So IT Never Gets Old says, get things aired out before the main content during the pre-show. Exactly. And that's actually one of the reasons that I have the countdown timer as part of the show. It's not just because it's fun to have the map on the screen, but it is a chance to double check that I'm actually sending data to YouTube before I go live. I can confirm it's live on YouTube. I can check the audio to make sure it sounds right. It's and iron out those little glitches. So that is a good reason to have a countdown timer and stuff before your main show is actually live. So yes, hopefully you didn't all miss me too much last week. I was this close to actually doing a live stream from the middle of the ocean, and I actually did go live on a members only channel, a members only stream, but it was not like me talking. It was just that view out the window. And I was very curious if it was possible to have enough of an uplink to do a stream. And the answer is apparently yes, although not all the time. And I did about 26 minutes of a live stream of just that view out the window to YouTube, and it worked fine. It was online the whole time, no glitches. So the ship had Starlink internet, which I didn't know it was Starlink at the time. I was just like, yeah, I'm going to get the ship internet while I'm out there. What I did was I brought this little travel router with me. This one's actually an old one, an older model, but it's still for sale. I will post this in the chat. One of the reasons, the reason that I got this one, this is one of the GL.iNet routers. The reason that I brought this one in particular is because it has a built-in battery. This one does have a SIM slot, which I didn't use because there were no cell towers in the middle of the ocean, but it also does Wi-Fi bridging like all the GL.iNet stuff. But it has a battery, which means I could carry it around with me wherever I went, and it was very handy. So this, I join my phone to this. I tell this to get on the ship Wi-Fi, activated my account that way, and then this thing was the MAC address that the ship knew about, and so it was only one device from their point of view. But that meant I could then share this to my phone, my computer, friends' phones, family's phones, and the so for the stream, for the live stream that I did, how did I do that? That was in. So the camera that was filming that was the DJI Action 4. That's the camera out that window. It is not super great in low light, but in this kind of bright light, it's great. And one of the, I don't have it down here, but one of the cool things is because of the little clips, it's actually really quick to take it on and off. But I got this like suction cup mount for it, and it meant that I could actually get the lens, because you see how it's like totally flat. I could get that lens all the way up against the window, like the balcony window. So I might actually have a picture showing how it was mounted. But that meant that there were no like reflections, as long as it was bright enough outside, no reflections on the screen. And it worked very well. So I just kept sticking this on the window and recording hours out the window of the boat, just to have as a background for that and for other things for later. So it'll probably make an appearance. That footage will probably make an appearance at some point in the future. Somewhere in here, I have a photo of the camera mounted to the window, because I was like, that worked really well, and I wanted to capture it. Now I can't find it. Well, we'll come back to that, or probably not, because I'll realistically probably forget about it before the stream is over. But if someone wants to remind me about it later, please do. Yeah, I don't know where it went. That's weird. Oh well. Anyway, let me see what's going on in the chat. Yeah, this is hopeless. Oh well. Did I use the Osmo Pocket 3 to record? No. So yeah, it was the DJI Action 4, mainly because it has enough of a battery in there to last a decent amount of time. It was a couple hours at a time I could record, and most importantly, getting this lens flush against the glass meant no glare. Anything, if it was back at all, even just like a half inch, it would have had just terrible glare from the inside. Yeah. Oh, I was, oh, Matt says, I heard a couple new ships have cell towers that convert to data on Starlink. I was thinking about that. They absolutely could do that, because you can just run a cell tower, like as long as it has an uplink. And I guess since there's no like rules on the ocean, there's no FCC to deal with as long as you're far enough off the coast. I'm curious. I'm curious what the legal aspect of around that is. But yeah, totally doable. The Starlink connection was most of the time great, and I was on the way down. So I guess we were like in the middle of the ocean. Let me see if I can find the let me see if I can find a good map of the route that we took. So yeah, so this, oops. Oh, weird. Why is it not loading? Maybe because it's too big. Oh, something's wrong with it. Darn. Yeah, oh well. We were I don't have the line in the map, but this is the route that we took. So from there through the Gulf of Mexico, down around there. And so I was somewhere in the middle of the Gulf of Mexico here doing the live stream from Starlink. And yeah, it actually did, it did work well. That was streaming, gosh, how did I do the first one? It was this camera, not in OBS. Or was it not this camera? Oh, I think the first one I did was with the Lyrics broadcaster on my phone. So it was just my phone camera. I was just testing the upload. And yeah, Lyrics broadcaster on my phone worked fine. I was able to get the bitrate down enough that I had a stable connection the whole time. And so I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's do a live stream. And I was, because so that was like what, Monday night, or maybe it was Tuesday morning or something, and it worked great, like no stream glitches the whole time. Lily's live stream is normally on Tuesday nights, and so by Tuesday night I was like, well, why don't we just do your live stream at your normal time? So I set up this whole thing of like, I got my laptop out, plugged this over USB to OBS, made all the scenes in OBS with this camera. I had my phone set up as like a main camera for her. I got her chat loaded in OBS as a layer. And then I started going live. We were like all ready to go. And then the internet was just not cooperating that night. So I don't know what it was. The stars were not aligned. The Starlink was not aligned, and just could not get enough of an uplink to do the stream, unfortunately. So then I gave up and I didn't bother trying again. It would have been fun to do an actual stream on my channel on, Friday or whatever, but I was not confident about the internet at that point. Gwen says, according to movies, you can do pretty much anything in international waters. The movies will never lie to us, right? Yeah. Well, so that's, I think, actually not that far away from reality, because so there's like a casino on board, but they can't run the casino when they're too close to land. But once they're away from land, then they're in international waters, so they can do whatever they want, and there are no rules. Okay, let me get to some of the questions here. Oh, speaking of Mexico, we've got two people from Monterrey, Mexico. Felipe here. And Raul, good to see you. Why is my stream lagging? Can you check for frame drops? It's probably not. It's probably on your end, as on the viewer end. YouTube sometimes just doesn't have enough bandwidth down from wherever you are, but I don't see any glitches here. Nobody else has reported problems, so try reloading the page or drop down to a lower resolution. Okay, if you have any questions, by the way, if you have any questions, start your message with the letter Q so that it filters it out on my screen here. And we will, speaking of the letter Q, IT Never Gets Old says, do you have the OC M2 that is designed, is that the unit that's designed as a your presentation box? I didn't know this was coming out until I saw this on their website last week when I was filming before I left. I was like, you know what? I haven't filmed a video. I haven't like filmed an edited video about the OC GoStream deck. I've only done live streams. So I figured it was a good chance to film something before I left. So I did like a full overview of the GoStream. And at one point I went to the website to go show like how to download the firmware or whatever. And I was surprised to find this. I've seen a couple of other companies with similar looking things, but I had not heard about this yet. GoStream M2, they call it a dual capture card, HDMI splitter. But I do not have it. I have not heard of it before. It is, and I'm not totally sure what this is. But hopefully they have a good little diagram. So it's got two HDMI inputs and one HDMI out. I'm assuming I hope we can see the labels. Yeah, in one, in two, and out. So it looks like as a capture card, you can change which of the two inputs it's bringing into the computer, but also do layouts. So picture in picture, side by side, up and down, next to each other, that kind of thing. I don't know if you can add a background image to that as well. But what's really curious is I don't know what's going out the HDMI port on this, because if it is selectable, then yeah, it might be very close to the little presentation switcher that I want. If it's not selectable, if it's just whatever is on the webcam out, then it's nothing like the presentation switcher that I've been wanting someone to make, and it is more just like a capture card. But I'm guessing this is more just like a capture card. We will see. I don't know. had not heard about this yet at all. Yeah. But could be a little interesting box. Yeah, I've seen a couple of other similar dual capture cards, is usually what they're called, but I've never actually played around with one. Zephyrin did a video about it. Oh, cool. Okay. Is Starlink a USA only thing, or can anybody get access to it? I have no idea. So the ship has the Starlink contract. That's just their internet uplink for the boat, and then they just broadcast their own Wi-Fi in the boat. So I didn't even know it was Starlink until I got on the ship Wi-Fi. Cool. No stream lags for anybody else. Great. Okay, where was I in the questions? Oh yeah, another question about the M2. Yeah, I'll see if I can get a hold of one, because I am curious about it. Observant Lee says, do you have any ideas on how to connect mirrorless to Android phones as a camera for live streaming? So I don't have a lot of experience with Android devices yet, although I did actually buy an Android phone partly to be able to test this kind of stuff better. But haven't had a lot of time with it yet. It's still pretty new. It is, but there are, I believe some Android apps can take webcams in directly, but then there's also like the, Axoon makes the, what is it called? Oh my God, I'm totally blanking on the name of it. Axoon. They make a thing called, I have it around here somewhere. Simo, there it is. I thought that was supported Android too, but now that one says it's just iPhone. I could have sworn theirs works with, here's the product page for it. That one says iPhone too. I could have sworn they had one that was for Android. Maybe they don't need it for Android because it supports it directly. Anyway, yeah, the someone in the chat in a second is going to tell you what to do for Android. But yeah, I will hopefully get some more more experience with streaming apps on Android now that I actually have an Android phone. Grant says, "How's the 2110 stuff been going for you?" I've done a couple of things with it, not a ton yet. I don't have a lot of I don't have like anything beyond just this setup at the desk here right now to test with it. I'm hoping at some point to be able to do more, actually connect to sites with it. Right now I've just been connecting like that thing with the capture card that's in the computer, so it's all in one rack still. It's kind of overkill for doing that, but I have used it as like extra capture cards or outputs from the from the computer over 2110 with Zoom ISO. So it's coming in handy for that kind of stuff. But hopefully, well, once the big house is done, I'll have actual 2 different locations to link over IP. Axoon M1, Gwen has Googled it for me. Oh, so instead of Axoon CMO, Axoon M1. There we go. This one might not actually have. Oh no, it does. Okay, live streaming. So in the app that you use as the monitor, the app will have the live stream feature. So if you get this little thing, is basically like a capture card for the phone. It'll have an HDMI in, so you can plug in a camera to that, and then you run their app, and their app is able to, it works as a monitor, but then their app is where you configure the streaming key and all that kind of stuff. Renee says, "What do I have to check for deciding between Yolobox Mini or Magewell Director Mini?" That is a good question. This is probably worth me doing an actual video about this at this point, because I've now got I've done enough stuff with both where I feel like I have a pretty good idea. The main differences for me are the Director Mini has the app for the phone that can bring in a camera directly into the Director Mini. With the Yolobox, you have to do it with an NDI camera app and an NDI feed. So it is similar. It's just a little bit more seamless with the Director Mini, I feel like. And the Director Mini's iPhone camera is actually an SRT feed as well instead of NDI, but doesn't really matter at the end of the day. The other thing about the Director Mini is that they have an iPhone app that can be a remote control for it, and a web page that can remote control it. The Yolobox, I don't think they've actually ported their Stream Deck controller to the Yolobox Mini yet. I'm assuming it'll come at some point, but it did hit the Yolobox Pro. I assume it's going to hit the Mini as well. But that's still just like a USB cable between the Yolobox and the control panel, whereas the Director Mini is an actual, you can pull up a web page on any computer, or you can actually use a Stream Deck, which means it can be farther apart, not connected over USB and that kind of thing. Stream Deck using Companion. So those are the 2 things that you can do on the Director Mini that you don't get on the Yolobox. The Yolobox does have more graphics and more features like that, because, like, for example, there's the YouTube chat integration on the Yolobox, which does not exist on the Director Mini. You have to bring that in through a web graphics source, so it's a totally separate thing. They both do now have bonding, so that is now, they caught up to each other there. The Director Mini's bonding is Speedify built in, whereas the Yolobox, they run their own bonding service. What else? This is what I need to do a video about, so I can just get it all out in one go. The Yolobox. Oh, I guess the inputs and outputs are different as well. So one input, one HDMI in on the Yolobox Mini, 2 HDMI ins on the Director Mini. The Yeah. Yeah, I think that's the main differences. I'll have to do a video about that. That's a good topic. Speaking of Director Mini, Bob says, any recommendations for a portable external touchscreen monitor for the Magewell Director Mini? I have one that I used. It's fine. I don't know. I'm not going to give it like a glowing review, but it's fine. It's, I don't know, 15 or 13 inches, maybe 15 inches. 16 inches apparently. I found the link. I will, this one, I have plugged it into the Yolobox and the Director Mini, and it worked fine. They're not very expensive. I'm assuming anything like that is going to work just as well. Highlight Photography has had the Director Mini 6 days and super impressed with its user friendliness and functionality. Added hubs, keyboards, and it just works. I know, it's great. It's a good little box. Do you need the Yolobox services to use it, or can it be used independently? Do you mean like the Yolobox by itself? You don't need to buy any of their services unless you want the specific things that the services are providing. So they have the network bonding service is an add-on. They have their own streaming platform that's an add-on, but like you don't need to buy those to use the Yolobox on its own. Oh no, Michael's chat didn't show up in my thing. I can't show it on the screen. That's not going to work, is it? That message from Michael is his... Here, I'll just put it up in my YouTube console. His 12 months of being a channel member. Happy anniversary. Well, thanks, Michael. I appreciate it. I can't believe it's already been a year. The building sheriff says, how does Speedify compare to Yolocast bonding? Any advantage to either? I need to get my stuff set back up here so I can actually do a proper comparison. I think there's some differences in how they handle when one of the links is bad or down, but I don't know. I don't have it off the top of my head, and I need to do an actual test to share that. You know what I need to do is start making a list of all the things I'm going to say I'm doing a video about so that I don't forget. So we're going to say Yolobox Mini versus Director Mini. And we're going to say comparing the network bonding on Yolobox versus Director Mini. Speedify. Cool. MMM says, oh, wait, before we get to that, Michael says, I've not done a proper test, but Speedify does not handle any sort of dynamic bitrate adjustments. Yolocast might be able to do that because it's also the encoder. Oh, yes, that makes sense. Right. Speedify is just taking the network connections and turning them into a single network connection. The Yolobox, because it's actually in the Yolobox and it's their own thing, they might be able to do more. Hopefully, have not confirmed, but this is what I want to test, of like maybe the Yolobox drops its bitrate if it notices that the uplinks are bad. That's the kind of thing they definitely could do. Whereas the Director Mini can't really, because there's like a harder line between the Director Mini encoder and the Speedify bonding service. Matt says, I did the exact thing, got an Android about a decade ago. Samsung top brand, crashed more than any tech I ever had, totally worthless. See, that is also my experience with Android devices a decade ago, and I feel like it's been long enough that I should probably give it another chance. Because people seem very happy with their Android phones, and I do not remember having that feeling, but it's been a very long time since I had an Android phone. So, So far, I have been happy with it. What I did is I installed all my work managed apps on it so that it's like my work phone. It's I bought it. It's my own phone, but I have like my work profile on it. So I have work email and Slack and all that. So I'm forcing myself to at least use it for that. So I get experience with like, what does Gmail look like on an Android phone? How does Slack work? And so far it's been fine. Really no complaints. And because it's my own phone, I can actually use it for live streaming tests and stuff as well. I'm gonna have to combine that with the one I made a month ago. You know what? I at least put them in the same place. Yeah. Oh, Matt says, anyone hear anything about the DJI Neo drone? Okay, so other fun drone drone news. I decided to not bring the DJI drone mini with me to Mexico because it seems like the rules about I was not very confident in a lot of the rules about drones. It seemed to range anywhere from you can only fly a drone in Mexico if you're born there to nobody actually cares and you can do whatever you want. So maybe our two friends from Monterey can chime in a little bit here, but I was like, I'm not going to bother with, bring the DJI drone and try to like get, actually fly hundreds of feet in the air or whatever. But I did bring this one because I did find enough information that I seemed confident enough about the toy drone category, which is like, sub 250 grams. So this little one, the HOVERAir, cannot fly very high or very fast. It is extremely light, 125 grams or something, maybe 160. Anyway, it's very light and not a lot of manual control. It's mainly like a selfie camera, but I brought it because I had planned on doing a bike ride in Mexico on one of the port days where we stopped on Cozumel, and then I arranged this like not as part of the cruise ship, but just on my own. I just like found a bike rental place, met them a mile away from the port. They brought a truck, unloaded 4 bikes. We got on bikes and just rode south on the bike path. It was a lot of fun. We ended up doing like a 25-mile loop, or not loop, but down and back. And for part of that ride, I was like, okay, well, I'm going to bring the little selfie drone and have it see if I can follow me on the bikes. And you know what? It did. It worked surprisingly well. Let me grab, I've got to screen share my phone so I can show you this video, which was, it's like, there we go. Yeah. Like 3 minutes long of biking. So this was the drone following. This is me like, is this gonna work? Is it gonna run into these bushes? And we're like, on this very isolated bike path where there's no other traffic. At this point, like everyone else with me was way ahead of me because I'd stopped to like take out the drone. But I was trying to catch up to them, and I was like, how fast can I go and have it still follow me? So it's doing this just by visual tracking. Like it's following me visually and just trying to stay ahead of me. And it's not perfect, but it did a surprisingly good job for not having a controller or anything. Like it's just out there flying in front of me. And luckily not hitting those bushes because it's not that wide of a path. But I figured nobody was going to care about a drone flying below the tree line on a bike path that has nobody on it. So I forgot the Mexico orange filter. Yeah, this is straight out of the camera. Raul says, and honestly, you can do whatever you want. You don't want to get arrested, just saying. Yeah. It is pretty impressive. I agree. So yeah, so this is the little HOVERAir drone. This is, I know we were talking about DJI, but I wanted to show you this first. That was my dad who decided to wait and get in the video. I'll drop a link to this drone in the chat. There they are. That's my mom and Lily. It's doing a surprisingly good job. I was impressed. And I was not going slow at this point. I was like going, 15 miles an hour or so. And just seeing if it could keep up with me. Oh, and now there's a car coming. So I was like, I better pull over because, it was going side to side. And I was like, I don't know if it's going to just jump out in front of that car. What is the name of the toy drone? How much battery life does it have? Yeah, so it's the HOVERAir X1. I just dropped it in the chat. The battery life is not great just because the batteries are tiny. They are this big. So this is one of the batteries, and it is, I put the Velcro on it so I could attach the remote ID module to it. But it is, I don't know, 10 or 12 minutes or something that it can go. This was a 3-minute video and the battery was not anywhere near low, dead at this point, but maybe it was down to 60% or something. Anyway, so that was fun. Good little experiment with that. But the reason I wanted to mention that was because DJI is, well, there was a leak. Whether it was an intentional leak, we don't necessarily know, but there's now enough information online that it's pretty much guaranteed. And I think actually they announced the release, they announced the date of the launch, or was that leaked still? I think it was all leaked. Anyway, it's like 2 or 3 days from now. So don't buy the HOVERAir yet. Because the DJI Neo is basically DJI's version of that drone, and it is coming out this week. So it was, it's very small. I think it might be a very similar size to this actually. It's very small. It is, so yeah, this little thing has, tiny battery that clips on top. The Neo seems like it's going to be about the same size, and also importantly, enclosed propellers. And the reason that I'm excited about the enclosed propellers is, one, it's safer, so you really don't have to worry if this is going to, if it's going to bump into something, it's just going to bounce off of it or crash and not hurt anybody. But the other reason is because the only way you can legally fly drones over people in the US is, without going through all the exceptions of filing paperwork and stuff, is if it has enclosed propellers and also remote ID. I have not found anything that has confirmed if the DJI Neo has remote ID built in. I kind of suspect it won't, just because most people aren't going to need it to have that. It's only if you're doing commercial work. But if it does, or if it doesn't, you can just add a module on top, and then because it has enclosed propellers, you can fly over people without getting an exception. And because it's a DJI drone, I suspect it will, well, and all the rumors so far have also confirmed that it's going to work with a controller. So this one, there is an app that this comes with that you get some control over, but I am not going to fly a drone by using a touchscreen phone app to go up and down and side to side. I need joysticks, right? So the DJI Neo will have joystick control for the drone, and it's going to still be that tiny and that light. So I'm very excited about that, and I am almost certainly going to buy one when it comes out. Yeah. So Matt says the Apple Store sold something like that 7 or 8 years ago, but it was ahead of its time and the software was not there yet. I vaguely remember that actually, and I remember thinking the same thing. It was just not there. Cameras have gotten a lot better. The tiny camera in this thing, it's, definitely good enough for most things. You would not say, oh, that's a little tiny toy camera. So Video Buff says, I wish DJI had some affordable controller with a clean HDMI out. I know, yeah. Not likely to happen, but you can find those used. I got my what's it called? DJI RC Pro. I got that controller used. It was like $600 instead of $1,200. So keep an eye out. Sometimes you can get a good deal. Pete Leads 1303. What's the best way to stream from a GoPro? You know what? I actually have a video about exactly that. I think it's even called that. So let me. Oh no. Okay, I have two videos for you. One video is called if you're using your GoPro for live streaming, change these settings now. The other video is called don't buy a GoPro for live streaming. You will probably not be happy. So I'll drop those two links in the chat. If you absolutely have to use it for live streaming for some reason, watch the first video. There's some tips there for settings that you can use, custom firmware, GoPro Labs firmware you should download to give you a couple more options for that. But the only reason to use it for live streaming really is if you need to mount it, if you need it to be, well, it's not gonna be waterproof, but if you need it to mount it to things where any heavier camera might get damaged. So like the boat, for example, that I was streaming from a couple weeks ago, probably not going to mount a DSLR on the side of that boat, right? Like it's just too heavy. It would take too much gear to mount. GoPro is great. Like a tiny little clamp can hold it just fine. But so that's like the only reason. If you've got space and time to set up a proper camera, you're gonna have a much better experience with like pretty much anything else. Video Buff says, wondering if you could recommend a good way to mount a Yolobox Ultra on a bicycle so it's safe from excessive vibration. Any good mount you would recommend? You know, I actually did this a couple of times. And it is, so the Ultra is not small, first of all. So keep that in mind. Let me, yeah. So the Ultra is not small. This is a cage for it, PK1 cage that gives you, so it's basically 4 parts. It's these 2 side parts, which are 3D printed, and then these 2 aluminum bars. So the aluminum bars are obviously very strong, and this is what I would recommend clamping it to the bicycle with. Clamping anything to these parts is going to be dangerous just because of all the vibrations. But if you put like a cheese plate on here, you can grab this on the bike all you want. And I've done this before on a bike. Put it like on the handlebars. The Ultra is not light, so you need good strong grip for it. But then this will hold, like this part will hold this in just fine. I would not worry about the vibration in terms of like damaging the Yolobox. There's not really anything in there that is going to get hurt by vibrating. I've done it fine. I've done it many times on a bicycle now. It's fine. But yeah, you'll want to clamp it in multiple points to the bike. One clamp is not going to work, which is also why you don't want to clamp to the tripod screw, because that is not going to be strong enough to hold it. So get something to clamp this and that onto the handlebars or the bike frame. Give it 2 or 3 mounting points, and then it'll do fine. So that's step 1. Let me grab a link to that cage. There it is. It should be this one. Yeah. Okay, great. Okay, that should be in the chat in a second. And then I do have a couple of videos, or not videos, live streams where I like did a demo of that rig. So if you search, let's see if I can find it. Um, maybe I haven't done a proper timestamps for it yet. I think it might not have good enough timestamps, or it's just so long that I don't remember. I think the IBC last year was Yolobox Mini. Ah, here it is. This one is, yeah, this is the Yolobox Ultra on my bike. Okay. I'll drop this link to this video in the chat, and then we can take a look at it really quick. So in here, there's a, in here, there is a segment. Before we took off on the bike ride, I did a little overview of the rig. So this is walking around showing that cage. So that's that cage that I showed you. You can see the, okay, so this, I wish I had filmed this separately from the live stream, but see how I have two cheese plates bolted to the aluminum bar, and then there's two, they're kind of like, I think they actually are made for GoPro. They're not GoPro branded, but they're made for GoPros. So they have like the GoPro mount to 1/4-inch screw, and then that's a handlebar clamp. So there's two of those, one on each side. And I think I didn't put a mount on the bottom, but this ended up working fine. So two on the sides, gripping that aluminum bar, and that held it in place. A GoPro in the front, in the stupid media mod, which makes it huge. And then, let's see. Do I come around? Oh, GoPro in the back, which I need to redo that mount because it actually broke at one point and it threw my GoPro in the middle of the street, and then a car ran over it, and it mostly still works. Okay, yeah, so there you can kind of see the, what I was looking at. So it's like on the top of the handlebars, a couple inches up. And it worked great. The Pixel Mint says, am I going to IBC this year? Speaking of IBC, I am not. I decided I just don't have time for it this year. It is, I feel like NAB just happened like last week, and I know it's been a couple of months, but I swear it was just last week. And I just have too much going on this fall. Can't justify the time for that. So unfortunately, I will not be there. But I will be paying attention to all the releases, and hopefully what that means is that even though I'm not there, I will be, so it means I'll be here so I can get some videos out about the products. So I will try to do that at the very least. Speaking of predictions, Andy says, I've noticed that the Rode Streamer X is down from 400 to 250. I didn't notice that. What do I think of it, and any thoughts on whether there's an updated version coming? I did not realize they had dropped the price on that. That is really interesting. The Streamer X, I think it's actually like, I'm way more impressed with it than I thought I would be. It looks like it's just like a 2-input capture card or whatever, or a 1-input capture card, 2 audio channel device. But because it has their whole audio mixer thing in it, you can do really a lot of stuff with it. I did do a video about not about the device like by itself, but with the Director Mini, you can do the thing that I've been trying to do forever, which is if you're doing a presentation in Zoom where you need your camera in Zoom, but you're also sharing slides to Zoom, and then you want to record that presentation, but better quality than Zoom, you can actually use the Streamer X and the Magewell Director Mini to do exactly that. And it's specifically because of the audio mixing capabilities in the or in the Streamer X, because it lets you do multiple audio mixes out the different USB versus HDMI versus whatever. So, yeah, super cool device. And so that audio processor in the Streamer X is also in the Rodecaster Duo and Pro. So it's just like a scaled down version of it in the Streamer X, which is super powerful. Anyway, I'm excited about that. I don't know what it means. So they dropped the price. It's interesting. Matt says the new one will allow you to record, is the rumor. Oh, right. Yeah. Because there's no, the Streamer X is just capture card. There's no recording capability, unlike the Rodecaster, which has the recording built in. Director Mini or OBSBOT Talent? I'm not so sure yet about the OBSBOT. So they are the same device. It is the same hardware. Magewell makes the hardware for the OBSBOT Talent. My understanding, and I haven't played with the OBSBOT version yet, other than seeing it at NAB. My understanding is that there is more. There's more OBSBOT integration, software integration in the OBSBOT version of it. So like PTZ control of the OBSBOT, and will probably be more stuff like that in the future, but it's the same hardware. So if you don't care about OBSBOT cameras, get the Director Mini, because you're not going to need any of the OBSBOT customizations that they've done. When will the PK1 Director Mini cage be generally available? That is a good question. I should bug them about that because, yeah, they should. They should have it out. I've used this a couple times now. This one is not a cage, so it just slots in rather than clamps in, but it's, yeah, it works. It works well. It's a good, and this should also fit the OBSBOT since it's the same device. Now that I think about it. Don't mount this to a bicycle because this will fly out. This is not a cage. GL.iNet. Okay, what else? Video Buff says, I bought the PK1 cage already for the Ultra. I love it, but I still feel like it needs some sort of shock mounting. If you're doing like mountain biking, maybe, but for street biking, I don't think it needs shock mounting. But yeah, if you're going over like dirt roads and stuff, probably would want something. But just for like riding around a city, it's been fine in just that cage. MMM says, I'm trying to get the Osmo Pocket 3 hooked up to HDMI on an ATEM to record as a digital camera, not using the computer. Is there a solution? Not a sort of yes. Like the Osmo Pocket 3 is a webcam, USB webcam, so that's the only option for video out, which means you need something that can take a USB webcam in. There is a little box that OBSBOT and RGBLink sell, which again is the same hardware, which takes a USB webcam in and turns it to HDMI. It is basically like a tiny computer in there that is taking a webcam and doing video processing to HDMI out. That's really the only option. What is that one called? It's called, oh my God, forgetting the name. RGBLink. Oh, there it is. Tau 1 Tiny. I'll drop the link in the chat, and then I do have a video about this as well. Somewhere. It was, it was about the OBSBOT version, but it's the same device. And this is, I'll drop that video in the chat as well. And it works. It's definitely like it just feels weird, I guess, but it works. Yeah, I don't know. I prefer, I don't know. I would have to have a really good reason to want to use the Osmo Pocket 3 in order to actually use that in a real setup. So far, the times I've wanted to use the Osmo Pocket 3 has been because I'm trying to do like a portable kit or a kit that I want to have less setup time, or because I need because that camera can be powered or has a battery and then is charging via USB, where a mirrorless camera wouldn't. So in those cases, I've ended up either using the Yolobox or the Magewell Director Mini because of all the other benefits of using those over an ATEM, in which case those take a webcam in anyway over USB, so I just plug it in over USB, so it works fine. I don't need a converter. So I have not found a scenario where I'm using an ATEM and then also want to use the Osmo Pocket 3 versus a different camera that is just HDMI. So yeah, if you have a reason, let me know, because I'm curious what scenario that might be. Have I tested the Osmo Pocket 3 as a webcam for the iPad? No, but I guess it would. I don't see why it wouldn't work. No, yeah, I'm actually working on a video. It's almost done. Just waiting for them to approve it. But it's an update, or an update about the Logitech Mevo multicam app. They were showing this off at NAB, where they did an update to the app that lets you take, your multiple Mevo cameras that are wireless, but then because the iPad added USB webcam support, you can bring in a webcam and mix it with those cameras. So I'm doing a video about that. It's almost done. I don't see why, though, Osmo Pocket wouldn't work for that. That'd be cool. Michael says, when will I receive my Resolve Replay Editor panel? Yeah, good question. Hopefully IBC will be their launch date at the latest. Gosh, it's been a while. It is. That's gonna make things. That's gonna be great. That's gonna be really good. Matt says, I have the original FaceTime camera, 1 inch round and 3 inches long, and now fits in a 1/4 inch iPhone. Yeah. Yep. Any news about the secret product from RØDE? I really can't share anything about that. That's all I can say. Which is, let's just say it's good news. We'll say that. It's good news. Spots says, out of context. Whatever, that's what the whole stream is. There is no context. What teleprompter and monitor that I can see video feed as well? What would you recommend? I'm still pretty happy with the setup I have here, which is so this is the I always forget the model number of this. A11, I think, is or A10. Anyway, 10-inch monitor under the teleprompter. This is a Glide Gear teleprompter. Yeah, LILLIPUT monitor. I'll drop this link in the chat. The reason I like this monitor is because it does the image flip itself. So you can feed in a regular HDMI signal, and then this will flip it for the teleprompter. And then it happens to fit exactly the right size of this Glide Gear monitor. The mount is made for a tablet, so it doesn't quite mount right. So I actually have a piece of tape on the bottom here that holds it in place. But like you can see, this little thing is supposed to like grip the edge of a tablet, which is going to be a lot thinner. So it's not made for this monitor, but it does end up working fine. Now that it's here, I like it. But yeah, the monitor does the image flip for the teleprompter. It's the right size. I like it a lot. And because it's a HDMI or SDI monitor, I can feed it from the ATEM, which means I can change what's on there. So like right now I have the web presenter screen in it, but if I wanted to, for example, I could go and change the teleprompter to be a copy of my computer screen. So now it's showing me the ATEM control, or I could change the teleprompter to be like the Fire TV with the map, or I could pull up a web page on that, or sometimes I'll do the Apple TV where I will give it the Apple TV feed and then AirPlay my phone to the Apple TV, and then use a teleprompter app on there. So yeah, that's I like feeding it from the ATEM so that I get better control over what I can put in it. It's not just hardwired. What's the view that has those purple bars? Top right monitor on the right above port 21. Oh, that is the CloudPod status. So that's showing me I have a USB drive plugged into the CloudPod, 2 terabyte USB drive plugged in there, and it's showing me the amount of it that's used. It's cool because when you're like writing to it or copying from it, it blinks. Grant really likes this display. If you go watch the live stream announcement about this, he just grins wildly when he's talking about the little status display. It's like watching the defragment, hard drive defragment. And yeah, it's great. What was the app you were talking about to plug in my Pocket 30 to iPad? I was trying to test it right now. It does ask if I want to be a webcam. Well, any iPad app that supports external webcams should work with it, but I was talking about the Mevo Multicam app because that app is that was the one where you can connect the Mevo cameras wirelessly, and now you can add a wired camera as well. So Mevo Multicam, but yeah, any app that supports webcam inputs should work just fine with it. Well, let me scroll back here. I found a question that I had missed. Any way to see the number of frames dropped on the Director Mini? I don't think it shows that. I don't think I've seen that in the status anywhere. Yeah, I'm not sure. Did you hear about the Amaran app? Released a few days ago and has Stream Deck controls, maybe can integrate it with Companion. I did not hear about the Amaran app. I've been mostly offline for the last week, only a little bit online. And I did not hear about that. That's interesting. Love that video loop on the TV behind you. Where can I find it? It is something I recorded on last week on my DJI Action at the side of the boat. It is this loop is 40 minutes, but it's part of I think it broke it up into 40-minute chunks, and this is only one of the 40-minute chunks. I just didn't have time to actually edit. Didn't have time to actually edit it all together because I literally just came back last night. So I am going to I don't know if I'm gonna post that, but I'm at least gonna have it like for using in things like this or playing back. What I need to do is get a H264 version of it I can put onto a hyperdeck, but those are so picky about formats, so I don't know if that's going to work. Right now it's just playing off of this iPad, so this was the fastest way I could do this because I had approximately 0 amount of time to prepare for this. But this is the oh, that's really zoomed in. I think I was from when I was filming the OC video. So this is the app called Live App Pro, and this you can bring in. It's like a playlist. You can make playlists of different video clips. It's really handy for that. But then it has all these different playback options. So like, do you want to play this clip and then loop it, or do you want it to cut back? You want it to actually control your ATEM and have it cut back to a camera when the video clip is done. So I can like queue up a video clip of like 30 seconds or whatever, and then run a commercial, use it to run ads in a stream or whatever. Or in this case, just play this on a loop. And this is doing full, clean HDMI out from the iPad, which is weirdly not what happens when you're playing back from the Files app. on the iPad, and the Files app is the I couldn't load the. So like literally what I did was a second ago before the stream started, took the SD card out of the DJI Action, put it into this reader, and then like it didn't show up in the Photos app on the iPad. The Files app could find it, but then Files app didn't play back full screen. So I was like, shoot, can I maybe pull it into this? And it took like 6 minutes to load it in because it's like an 18 gig file. But now it's here and now it's playing on a loop. And then the stream is about to start, so I didn't have time to add the other segments to it. But like theoretically, I could add the other parts of it. So it has, I think it's this 823. So there's a part before it that has a little bit more of the pre-sunset. But I'm not going to do that because it's going to take too long to load it in. Anyway, yeah, this is a cool app for playing back clips. And now we're getting to the sunset part. My other plan for this video clip is it's going to play on an infinite loop in the TV in the bathroom, which sounds weird, but it'll make sense if you are following the House Files channel. Although I think we're a little bit behind on that. No, it is up. The video on that is up. I will drop a link to that channel, and the most recent video about built-ins talks about the train window. What app is that? I will drop a link to that app as well. Neil says, speaking of Stream Deck, they are showing a new device at IBC in cooperation with BitFocus. I saw that announcement. That is going to be very cool. I'm not going to be at IBC, but I will be following this development and do a video about that, hopefully. I just said do a video about that. I'm going to write this down. Elgato plus companion new hardware. So it looks like Elgato is making a new control surface of some sort, like a Stream Deck, but maybe rack mounted. But interestingly, actually working with the BitFocus, the companion folks on it. So yeah, that's very exciting because Elgato hasn't really acknowledged that this whole live streaming professional community is using their hardware all the time. So this is really interesting. Yeah. Is there an Android version similar to Live App Pro? I have not encountered one, but again, I haven't tried looking too much for these kinds of Android apps. But this is definitely an iPhone, iPad, or iOS only. MMM says, exciting news to share with you. Need your knowledge on hooking up one more thing for my studio. Did I miss the other part of your question? Let me see if I can find it. Let me know what the question is. Oh, was it the question about the Osmo Pocket 3? Working with BitFocus, now it's got to be good finally. I hope so. I hope so. Oh, question from George. Any ideas on how to stream a vertical video in the Yolobox Ultra 9x16? Fit to, and on the background add a gradient, 2 colors with some text. Vertical video. Wait, second part. Horizontal video fit into 9x16. Okay, yeah. Gradient and text titles. Tried overlays. Text is off it as expected. This shouldn't be too hard. So if you if you're in vertical mode on the Yolobox, and you plug in a camera, like a horizontal camera, you can get it, it'll shrink down, and then you have space on the top and bottom. So if you make a overlay that's vertical, you can just, with a transparent cutout in the middle, you can just slap it right over the top. Somewhere in here I have a overlay that I use for this. Let's see if I can find it really quick. You know what's really funny is having that video play in the background is making me feel the slight rocking of the boat still. A whole week of that. Here it is. So what I did was, this is my, like, you know, RGB background, but this is I made a cutout in the middle so that this can go on top in the Yolobox. It can go over the video. So you can just do whatever you want, like put text up here, put your own graphics on the top and bottom, and then leave a hole in the middle for the horizontal video to show through. Asher says, I'm using a USB 2.0 for my ATEM Mini Pro webcam output. Will it decrease the video quality? Should I switch to the 3.0? Will it increase the quality? Interesting. I've never really thought about that. I didn't think USB 2 had enough bandwidth to do HD webcam, but would it negotiate down? I don't think I've ever done anything but USB 3. I'm kind of surprised this has never come up before. Is it USB 2? Is it all USB 2? I feel like that USB 2 bandwidth is like only enough for audio, but maybe I'm wrong. USB can support 480 megabits. I guess that is plenty for a video stream. The other thing we can do is check the specs of, I'm surprised I haven't really thought about this. Check the specs of the ATEMs, because they will tell you often, ATEM Mini Pro. You definitely need USB 3 for drives to get fast enough for the USB drives, but is the webcam out really just USB 2? They don't say it there. Sometimes you can find. Oh, interesting. They don't even have the original ATEM Mini here anymore. Oops. Jeez, I keep typing the wrong. Yeah, and the Extreme is a USB 3.1, but that's because it needs plug-in drives. Huh, I hadn't really thought about that. Yeah, I guess everyone's saying USB 2 can handle it. 1080p 30, not 60. Ah, okay. So if you want 60 FPS, go to USB 3. Cool. Question from earlier that I missed. How can I programmatically extract a snippet from a YouTube broadcast into smaller fragments, also for YouTube? I checked the YouTube data API, but I can't find support there. Yeah. The YouTube data API is definitely not going to give you access to the video streams. It's about the data. It's about, like, list all the videos, upload a video, or schedule a stream, post a chat, view chats, that kind of thing. There's like unofficial tools for downloading YouTube videos. They don't use the API. They just pretend to be browsers, basically. And that's probably the only way you're going to get it to work. I've actually done that for my own streams quite a bit. I have a batch job that just runs all the time where it will, because I don't record my own streams locally, which maybe I should, but I figure there's not a lot of point because I don't know, like I don't need a higher quality version than what I'm streaming to YouTube. So as long as I can get the copy from YouTube, that's fine. And if I end up broadcast, if something goes wrong with a broadcast to YouTube, I probably actually want to capture what went wrong because I'm going to be talking about what went wrong with it later, rather than like, if I was doing this for like filming an event, it's a totally different story. But because it's this show, I don't mind just downloading the copy of whatever happened on YouTube, whether like glitches and all. But I download from YouTube a copy of my own streams and I archive those. And sometimes I go back and I pull those out and like chop them up and use clips from them or whatever. But oftentimes I don't even bother with that. That's probably the only option you really have. Cool. Okay, we're over 90 minutes at this point. I should probably go. I have a lot of catching up to do now that I'm back in town. I have to go grocery shopping, for example, finish unpacking, and all that kind of stuff. Another new name for the stream, glitches and all. Hey, that's a pretty good name. Ola from Indiana. Hello, hello. Thanks for being a channel member. Yeah, I think that's it for today. This has been fun. Thanks for the questions. We will be back. Yeah, I think we'll be back next week. I don't think I'm traveling on the weekend until a month or more. Over a month, I think. And I'm hoping that next weekend travel, I will be able to do a remote stream. Oh, there, the loop just went back to the beginning. I have another video that is like all during the day, so it didn't get darker. So I'm hoping that will look more seamless on the loop. I'll have to dig that one up and use that next time. It's been fun. If you're curious about how the rest of this trip went last week, tune in to Lily's live stream on Tuesday. I'm sure she will talk a lot more about the trip and not just the cameras that we used. So that'll be fun. Oh, one thing I didn't even get a chance to talk about was this little thing. This I grabbed an old Raspberry Pi 3 and put a board on top that records the AIS transmissions from boats, and I had this in the ship the whole time recording, and I haven't downloaded it yet, but on the SD card, theoretically, there's a recording of all of the GPS position updates from any of the boats we were going by, including our own boat, for the whole trip, and that'll be fun. So, yes. Okay. Thanks, everybody, for the stream. Thanks for the questions. Thanks to the channel members for your support. Thanks to our extreme supporters, Larry, David, and Marcin. And thanks to everybody else for being here and bringing your questions. Thanks, Gwen, for the reminder. Oh, and thanks for the reminder to like and subscribe. And I dropped a whole bunch of links in the chat throughout this. I will grab those and post them in the description as well. We've got links to other related videos from the questions and other channels and things. So that was fun. Have a good rest of the week and try to stay warm or cool depending on what part of the world you are in. Looks like it's gonna be a hot week in Portland this week, so it'll be fun. Matt's birthday is next week. Big 65, no presents. Well, maybe we can all wish you happy birthday next week. Yeah, cool. Okay, next week, hopefully I'll get another video out this week. I think I have a couple that are far enough in the queue to do that. Otherwise, I will see you again later, and thanks everybody for watching, and see you next time.